Hi, this is Ike from Groovy Entertainment. Today we got another book on record to play for you. Today's book is The Ugly Duckling from 1966. So let's get started.
Hello, boys and girls. Danny Kaye is going to read you a story. But before Danny begins, let's look at the cover of our book. See the picture of a mother duck and 3 little ducklings? And look, another duckling has just broken the shell of that great big egg. The words at the top of the page say, The Ugly Duckling by Hans Christian Andersen. Now open the book. There's a picture of our ugly duckling, and there's the broken shell that once was his home. The words on this page say, The Ugly Duckling by Hans Christian Andersen, illustrated by Richard Kufari. Now turn the page and Danny will begin to read the story. Ready? Here we go.
On an old farm far out in the country sat a mother duck hatching her eggs. At long last, one egg shell after another burst open, and little ducklings poked out their heads and went beep, 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 beep. And soon they were all out of their shells. All except one, that is. The largest egg of all had not yet hatched.
Turn the page.
I think I will sit on it a little while longer, said the mother duck. I've sat so long now that I can sit a few days more.
At last the great egg burst, and out crept a very large and very ugly duckling.
It's enormous to be sure, quacked Mother Duck. But thank goodness none of the others look like that.
Turn the page.
And soon the poor creature became the butt of the whole farmyard. Everyone pecked at him, and chased him, and did all sorts of things to him. The chickens beat him, and even the farmhand kicked at him.
Turn the page.
One day, when the ugly little duckling could stand it no more, he crawled under the fence and went far away to the distant marshes. And here he fell in with a company of wild ducks who didn't seem to mind his ugliness at all.
Listen, friend, said one of them, you're so ugly that we like you. Will you join us and become a bird of passage?
Turn the page.
He was just about to say, yes, happily, when a shot rang out, and out of the sky tumbled one of the wild ducks. Wildly the flock rose into the air, and more shots followed. And many of his newfound friends fell lifeless into the water before him.
Now, if you will turn the record over, Danny will continue. Don't forget to turn the page. This is part 2 of our story. Did you remember to turn the page? Good. Here's Danny.
Then he heard another sound. What was that? He was so frightened that he put his head under his wing. At that moment, a frightful big dog came through the reeds. His tongue hung far out, and his red eyes gleamed horribly, and for a moment he stopped and glared at the ugly duckling. But then, splish, splash, on he went. Oh, thank goodness, said the little duckling. I am so ugly that even the dog does not like to bite me.
Turn the page.
At last it was autumn, with its red and golden leaves, and the air became very cold. And then came the cold, bleak winter. It would be just too sad to tell you of all the suffering and misery which the little duckling endured during that time. It was really a miracle that he survived at all.
Turn the page.
When spring came, there was another miracle. He found that he could fly. For with the passage of time, he had grown to be a mature bird. So he rose into the skies and flew far away. He soon found himself over a lonely garden with a shining blue lake. And below him all the trees were putting on their spring finery.
Turn the page.
It was breathtakingly beautiful. But what really thrilled him was the sight of 3 glorious white swans swimming in the lake. I will fly down to them, to the royal birds, he thought. Yes, even though they beat me because I am so ugly. Better to be killed by them than to be pursued and tormented by ducks and beaten by chickens.
Turn the page.
And he circled around and landed on the blue lagoon near him. He swam up humbly to the beautiful birds and spread his wings before them and bent his head down to the water so that they could more easily kill him if they wished. But what he saw reflected in the water was his own image. And lo and behold, no longer was he a clumsy, dark gray bird, ugly and hateful to look at. He was a swan, a beautiful snow-white swan.
Turn the page.
Then the other swans, graceful and majestic creatures, welcomed him into their company. And later into the garden came some little children, one of whom cried, "Look, a new one has arrived, and he is the youngest and handsomest of all." And all the old swans all bowed their heads before him.
Turn the page.
From the very depths of his heart, this new prince of swans cried, "I never dreamed when I was an ugly duckling that I could grow up to be a beautiful swan."
So that was The Ugly Duckling from 1966. So if you like, subscribe, share, and comment, and have a good every day. We have another video coming out real soon. And our next book will be Benjamin Badge and the Barnaby Ball.